So we can increase the radius of the circle by applying the method add radius. Let's increase the radius 2 and then by 10. For example, you say print radius of the object radius circle dot radius. uh, then you say red circle add radius 2. Then you say print radius of the after applying the method the red circle radius. For example, with the original radius right now it's 6, so if you add 2 it will be 8. Then you say red circle add radius 5, so 5 plus 6 is 11, then the radius will be 11. So let's see, 6 plus 8, okay, you add 8 over here, 8 plus 5, that gives you 13. So you can add radius to the original circle as well. And blue circle, let's create a blue circle. As default color is blue, we all have to do is specify what the radius is. For example, blue circle radius is equals to 100. So we did not mention the color here because if you remember, we already mentioned this in the main class. Color is equals to blue, so by default the color is blue, you don't need to mention. And by default the radius is mentioned in 3, so only the radius is changed to 100. So it will go there and create another instance which is equals to, which is the blue circle with a radius of 100. So you say blue circle, you created this dot radius, so it will give you 100. Okay, so the radius is okay. So for example, now move here. Okay, the radius is 100. Why it gave me an error? Because I didn't run this command and I directly jumped here. So that's the issue, you have to go step by step. Then I say what's the color, so it says blue. Then I say blue circle dot draw circle. So you remember that draw circle dot draw circle was the main function we defined in the main class to draw the circle, and that used the .plt library of the Python. If you go back and check, draw circle self using all the attributes. Why we write self here? Because self will have all the main attributes stored in it, and then the standard way for drawing the circle. And then if you click it, you will get a circle. So we got a circle of radius 100. Okay, so if you want to change the radius, let's suppose you say go and say the radius is, let's suppose 50. Okay, now the radius is 50, and if you go and check it, you will get 40 up to here and 50 up to this point. Okay, compare x and y axis of the figure to the figure of red circle. They are different. Okay, so you can compare it x and y axis because the radius are changed obviously. Then in the start of the lecture, what we have covered till now, let's get a recap. So basically we had to create a class. The class is in the classes you create any real object of the world. So we had like two classes, one was circle, one was rectangle. So within a circle we had like attribute of the circle, that was radius and color, and from there we then worked on an example was given in which like 3 circles were created: red circle, green circle and yellow circle. So afterwards we said that you created the instance, there is a way to define the class and then create the instance, and afterwards we work with the method add radius, in which we added the radius to increase the radius of the circle, and then we created the class. So before creating the class, we imported the matplot library as plt, and then we said there is a standard way to create the circle class, name of the class, and then object as a parent, and that was the inside code. First was define your class as we defined over here, then we initialize data attributes used to initialize the object, we entered the data attributes, and then we added the method used to add r. So that's one method to add the radius, and then we executed the code, and then after method we used another method to draw the circle, draw circle self, and we use the library plt dot this method. Okay, so afterward we created 2 circles. The first circle was the red circle, and the second circle, then we added used the method to add the radius to the circle. First we original radius was 6, then we added like 2 we got 8, and then we added 5 we got 13, and then we created blue circle with the radius of 50, and you can see a blue circle. Now what we are going to on this to the second part of the lecture, which is creating a rectangle. So now let's work on creating the rectangle class.